Welcome, dear listeners, to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time to uncover the secrets of our shared human experience. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of one of the most pivotal and devastating conflicts in modern history, the Battle of Verdun. As we delve into the origins of this fateful event, let us first set the stage for the drama that unfolded. The Battle of Verdun, a clash of titans that would shake the foundations of Europe, was not an isolated incident, but rather the culmination of centuries of tension and rivalry between nations. To grasp the complexities of this conflict, we must transport ourselves to the rolling hills and verdant forests of northeastern France, where the Meuse River flows gently through the landscape like a lifeblood. The city of Verdun, with its strategic location on the banks of the Meuse, had been a prized possession for various empires and dynasties throughout history, including the ancient Romans, the Franks, and the Holy Roman Empire. As we explore the earliest history of the Battle of Verdun, we find ourselves in the midst of a complex web of alliances and rivalries that characterized the European landscape in the early 20th century. The Franco-Prussian War of 1871 had left a deep scar on the French psyche, with the loss of Alsace-Lorraine to Germany still a painful memory. The German Empire, under the leadership of Kaiser Wilhelm II, sought to assert its dominance over Europe, while the French Republic, still reeling from the loss of territory and prestige, was determined to defend its honor and interests. In the years leading up to the Battle of Verdun, the European great powers had been engaged in a delicate dance of diplomacy and military buildup. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in June 1914 had set off a chain reaction of events that would eventually lead to the outbreak of World War I. As the war unfolded, the Western Front became a stagnant trench warfare, with both sides dug in along the borders of France and Belgium. In the winter of 1915 to 1916, the German High Command, led by General Erich von Falkenhayn, began to plan a massive assault on the French fortified city of Verdun. The goal was to bleed the French army white, to weaken it to such an extent that it would be unable to resist a subsequent German attack. The Germans chose Verdun for its strategic location and its symbolic value as a fortress city, a bastion of French resistance and patriotism. As we explore the origins of the Battle of Verdun, we find ourselves in the midst of a complex interplay of military strategy, diplomatic intrigue, and nationalist fervor. The German Empire, driven by a desire for dominance and prestige, sought to crush the French spirit and assert its own superiority. The French Republic, driven by a determination to defend its territory and honor, prepared to face the coming storm with courage and resilience. The stage is set for a conflict that would test the mettle of nations and leave an indelible mark on the course of human history. The fate of empires hangs in the balance, as the armies of France and Germany prepare to clash in a struggle that would become one of the most infamous in modern history. And so, dear listeners, as we conclude this initial foray into the origins of the Battle of Verdun, we find ourselves poised on the brink of a maelstrom of steel and fire, where the valiant soldiers of France and Germany will soon engage in a struggle that will shape the destiny of Europe. Join me as we venture into the very epicenter of this tumultuous event and uncover the secrets of a conflict that continues to shape our world today. Welcome back to History with Herodotus, as we delve deeper into the heart of the Battle of Verdun, one of the most pivotal and devastating conflicts in modern history. As the German High Command, led by General Erich von Falkenhayn, launched its massive assault on the French fortified city of Verdun, the stage was set for a conflict that would test the mettle of nations. The Germans chose Verdun for its strategic location and symbolic value as a fortress city, a bastion of French resistance and patriotism. The French Republic, driven by a determination to defend its territory and honor, prepared to face the coming storm with courage and resilience. The battle began on February 21, 1916, with a massive German artillery bombardment that shook the very foundations of Verdun. The French lines were subjected to a hail of shells, as the Germans sought to weaken the defenses and create a breach in the fortifications. However, the French army, led by General Philippe Pétain, held firm, despite suffering heavy casualties. The German infantry, weighed down by heavy packs and cumbersome equipment, struggled to make progress in the face of fierce French resistance. As the battle raged on, both sides employed innovative tactics and technologies to gain an advantage. The Germans introduced new artillery techniques, such as the Führerwalls or rolling barrage, which allowed them to saturate specific areas with intense fire. The French, meanwhile, developed their own countermeasures, including the use of camouflage, barbed wire, and machine guns to repel the German advances. One of the most notable aspects of the Battle of Verdun was the heroism and sacrifice displayed by the soldiers on both sides. The French army, in particular, showed remarkable resilience and determination as they fought to defend their homeland against overwhelming odds. The famous phrase "Ils ne passeront pas," or "they shall not pass," became a rallying cry for the French troops as they clung tenaciously to their positions. The Battle of Verdun was also marked by the introduction of new technologies and tactics that would come to define modern warfare. The use of tanks, aircraft, and poison gas added a new dimension to the conflict, as both sides sought to exploit these innovations to gain an advantage. The French, for example, developed their own tank force, which played a significant role in the later stages of the battle. As the months dragged on, the Battle of Verdun became a war of attrition, with both sides suffering heavy casualties and exhausting their resources. The German army, despite its initial successes, found itself bogged down in the muddy trenches and fortifications of Verdun, unable to achieve a decisive breakthrough. The French, meanwhile, continued to hold firm, despite suffering enormous losses. The battle finally came to an end on December 18, 1916, when the French launched a successful counterattack that pushed the Germans back from the city. The cost had been staggering: over 700,000 casualties on both sides, including more than 300,000 dead or missing. The Battle of Verdun had become one of the most infamous in modern history, a testament to the brutality and futility of war. As we conclude this segment of our journey through the Battle of Verdun, we find ourselves reflecting on the devastating consequences of this conflict. The battle marked a turning point in World War I, as both sides began to realize the true cost of their struggle. The French army, though victorious, had been severely weakened, while the German Empire had suffered a significant blow to its prestige and morale. Join me as we continue our journey through the annals of time, uncovering the secrets of a conflict that continues to shape our world today. Welcome back to our journey through the annals of time, as we explore the aftermath of the Battle of Verdun, one of the most pivotal and devastating conflicts in modern history. The human cost of the Battle of Verdun was staggering. Over 700,000 casualties on both sides, including more than 300,000 dead or missing, left an indelible mark on the psyche of the French and German armies. The soldiers who fought in the battle were forever changed by their experiences, many suffering from what would later be known as post-traumatic stress disorder. The traumatic effects of the battle were compounded by the introduction of new technologies and tactics, such as poison gas, tanks, and aerial bombardment, which added a new dimension to the horrors of war. The French army, though victorious, had been severely weakened by the battle. The loss of so many experienced soldiers and officers would be deeply felt in the years that followed, as France struggled to maintain its position on the Western Front. The German Empire, meanwhile, had suffered a significant blow to its prestige and morale. The failure to achieve a decisive breakthrough at Verdun marked a turning point in Germany's fortunes, as the country began to realize the true cost of its aggressive expansion. The Battle of Verdun also had a profound impact on the civilian population. The city of Verdun itself was left in ruins, its infrastructure and buildings severely damaged by the relentless bombardment. The surrounding countryside was scarred by the trenches and fortifications that crisscrossed the landscape, a testament to the brutal and destructive nature of modern warfare. The French government faced significant challenges in rebuilding and restoring the city and its surroundings, a task that would take years to complete. In the broader historical context, the Battle of Verdun marked a significant turning point in World War I. The battle highlighted the futility and brutality of trench warfare, as both sides became mired in a war of attrition that seemed to have no end in sight. The introduction of new technologies and tactics at Verdun would go on to influence the development of modern warfare, as armies began to adapt to the changing nature of conflict. As we reflect on the aftermath of the Battle of Verdun, it is clear that this conflict had far-reaching consequences for modern history. The battle marked a significant shift in the balance of power on the Western Front, as France and Germany began to realize the true cost of their struggle. The traumatic effects of the battle would be felt for generations to come, as soldiers and civilians struggled to come to terms with the horrors they had experienced. In conclusion, the Battle of Verdun was a pivotal moment in modern history, marking a turning point in World War I, and having far-reaching consequences for the soldiers, civilians, and nations involved. Join me next time as we delve into the final stages of World War I and the aftermath of the Great War. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.